Story 1, Botswana. Everyone we met was very nice and friendly, but not in a way that felt exploitative. For example, we ordered some street food and were invited to join a group of locals at their table. Story 2, Malaysian Borneo. Walking from the hotel into town on our first day, two people on a moped slowed down, lifted their helmet visors, and greeted us with a big wave and a smile. I thought, here we go, only been here 5 minutes and already it's go time. But then they pulled their visors back down and went about their day. They simply wanted to say hi. Later, a troop of monkeys approached us, so there's that. Story 3, Mexico. Yes, some people at resorts are acting nice for tips. However, even going into town and talking with locals, they were very friendly. Story 4. In Malaysia, everyone was polite and helpful. I didn't feel harassed as a single female traveler. It seemed like a very gentle and intelligent society, welcoming and curious to speak with me. I visited Kuala Lumpur and Penang. While there may be some aspects that aren't ideal, it was my best experience abroad. Story 5. Mexico is often judged based on border towns and the situation with certain groups. Life can be unpredictable. You would be safer in most areas of Mexico City than in the most dangerous parts of New Orleans. Story 6. I have traveled to 61 countries, and all of them have nice people. People who will help you if you need it or are happy that you want to see their country and learn about their culture. I believe encountering nice people is also within your control. Be respectful of where you are. Story 7. Not a huge sample, but every country I have visited has been friendly. People in large cities, such as London and Paris, have been less so. Story 8. I drove around the Irish countryside and went into a tiny pub that was packed to the point of claustrophobia. The bartender took one look at my boyfriend, who was very tall, burly, and a ginger with a beard, and yelled, "Get out! There can be only one of us in the bar, and that's me today." Then he laughed loudly, patted my boyfriend on the shoulder, and asked where we wanted to sit. They looked like brothers. My poor boyfriend isn't great at English, so he didn't catch any of it. I was too stunned to speak and then couldn't stop laughing. After I explained it, he laughed and told the bartender, "I'm sorry, but I need beer." They became the best of friends immediately. Also, the stew was amazing. Story 9. Thailand is wonderful. I took public transportation once and missed my station, but a very kind Thai lady helped me resolve the situation. In contrast, I was yelled at by a drunk salaryman in Japan for simply walking on the streets at night. He essentially told me to leave his country in Japanese, unaware that I could understand him. Story 10. Japan is known for its sweet and friendly people. Just be aware that they may harbor negative feelings toward you. I'm actually okay with that. Story 11. Kyrgyzstan. Everyone went out of their way to be kind and welcoming. I also felt safe everywhere I went, regardless of the time of day. Story 12. As much as Reddit may not believe this, it is about France. No, not just Paris, but the rest of France. The people in the French countryside are very nice. It is the Parisians who give the rest of the country a bad name. Story 13. Ireland and Wales experienced a flat tire. A small car stopped by with 4 rugby players who changed my tire. They wouldn't even accept any money for their help. Story 14. Canada and New Zealand. I would add Australia too, but I haven't had many conversations with them. However, the ones I did talk to were very nice. Story 15. Cuba. The people are genuinely nice. No matter where you go or who you meet, they are friendly and generous. The state may be in disarray, but the people are wonderful. Story 16. I have only visited one country that is not my own. Canada. I found the stereotype that Canadians are the nicest people to be completely true. Story 17. I know that in recent years, attitudes toward the United States have changed, but as a Canadian who lives about an hour away from the United States, specifically Buffalo, I have always had great experiences there and have visited around 100 times. Story 18. Japan. Everyone was very helpful, including older individuals who could not speak any English but still tried to assist me and provide directions. Story 19. Italy. I fainted in the street in Rome, And the locals were very helpful and kind. So were the ambulance and hospital staff. Story 20. I am surprised that no one has mentioned Kenya. I am curious. For those who have been to Kenya, what was your experience? Story 21. Tanzania. Most places I have visited have been friendly, except for Paris, but the Tanzanians were particularly chatty and hospitable. Even haggling at markets was a pleasure, and the vendors genuinely seemed to enjoy the exchange. I participated in a study abroad program with the Maasai just before the pandemic began, and I have nothing but positive things to say about the entire experience. Story 22. My top 3 countries visited are 1. Nepal, 2. Denmark, 3. Texas. Story 23. People were very kind in Uganda. I experienced more harassment in 10 minutes outside in St. Louis than I ever did during my entire time living there as a single woman. Story 24. Czechia. I visited last November. The people are wonderful. However, one ticket officer on the transport system would not let us buy tickets on a crowded tram, so he kicked us off and fined us. He then put the fine in his wallet. This was quickly forgotten as we went into the nearest pub for a beer. The bartender noticed we were feeling down about what had happened and poured us all a large stein of beer to cheer us up. The Czech people are amazing. Prague is a beautiful city, and their beer is exceptional. A shout out to the Dutch as well. They are just as wonderful. Story 25. Scotland. A woman helped my mother and niece find a bathroom about 5 blocks away. I was lost with my girlfriend at the airport, carrying my golf bag and searching for the oversized bag drop. A man who looked and acted like Michael Caine was sitting at a table across the large terminal, reading the newspaper. He looked up, peered over his spectacles, and raised his hand. "Pardon me, sir. Outboard luggage." "Excuse me, outboard luggage? Is that what you're looking for?" I finally realized that was a European interpretation similar to oversized luggage. "Oh, yes. It's right this way, sir, to the right. Thank you." Scotland was truly the kindest place ever. Story 26. Scotland is by far the best country I have visited, considering its people, hospitality, and warmth. Story 27. I'm from the United States, but I've lived in other places, including Europe and Latin America. I can say unequivocally that my fellow Americans are the friendliest people I have encountered anywhere. Story 28. Definitely Serbia. It tends to be hard to communicate because they don't usually speak foreign languages well, but they are very kind, open, and eager to help out. Story 29. If you mean friendliest, most helpful, and easiest to talk to, then definitely. Of all the states I have visited, Alaska was the nicest. Story 30. Uganda. The government can be intimidating, but the everyday people are incredibly kind and welcoming. It is quite similar in Kenya. Story 31. I am in Pakistan right now, and while it has its unique cultural aspects, the people are incredibly kind. Unbelievable. If it weren't for the early morning prayers and some instances of inequality, this place would be truly lovely. Story 32. Australia. I went out for a few beers in Adelaide with a friend when a random guy came up to us. He noticed we weren't from there. I'm Irish and my friend is French. He started recommending different bars to check out and then invited us to hang out with him and his friends for the night. The same thing happened in Sydney. I went to visit a friend and we went out for a few beers. 2 women came over, sat at our table, started chatting, and invited us to hang out with them. We met up with them for a barbecue at the beach the next day. Story 33. I haven't scrolled through the entire thread, but I am amazed that Fiji hasn't come up. I am Canadian, live on a sailboat, and have visited most Caribbean countries: the ABC Islands, Colombia, Panama, French Polynesia, and additional countries in the region, as well as New Zealand. I am currently in Australia, whose people are fantastic, but Fiji was an absolute standout. Story 34. Egypt and Trinidad pleasantly surprised me. I received nothing but kindness from strangers. In contrast to other comments about Ireland, that was the one place where I felt a lot of rudeness bordering on racism and xenophobia. Story 35. Brazil and Germany. I live in the southern United States, so I know how to differentiate between superficial, southern hospitality and genuine kindness. Everyone I met in Brazil exhibited a spirit of kindness, curiosity, and a genuine desire to connect. The same was true in Germany, though it was not as overt. I would definitely visit both places again. Story 36. Ireland. I have also made multiple trips to Puerto Rico for work, and nearly all the people I met there were very friendly. But that is not a country. Story 37. Surprisingly, Argentina has a stereotype of being pedantic. Story 38. The stereotypes about Ireland are true. It has some of the friendliest, most gregarious, and warm people I have ever met. As a red-headed Irish American, I can assure you that if they are nice to me, they will be nice to you too. Story 39. I don't see them listed yet, so I'll say Canada. It is a wonderful group of people who enjoy the little things in life, specifically in Alberta, from my experience. Story 40. I went to Europe for a hockey tournament. It was difficult to choose between Czechia, Kamidov in Prague, Austria, Vienna, and Germany, Munich, with a special mention for the team from Hungary, Budapest. The people in all four cities we visited were amazing. If we had more time, we would have played hockey in Budapest as well. If I had to give an edge to anyone, it would be the people of Czechia, as we spent the most time there and everyone was friendly. Story 41. Belgium is the best. It is similar to Germany but has a more positive attitude towards bicycles and a more relaxed demeanor. Literally, when you cross the border, the friendly greetings stop, and the distance when passing each other decreases significantly. Story 42. I was born in Scotland but left at the age of 5. I have visited a few times, and the people were always friendly toward me. Story 43. As a white male in China, people were very friendly and excited whenever I spoke even a small amount of Mandarin. They were eager to practice their English. Story 44. The people in Ireland were consistently the warmest and most hospitable I had met anywhere. They also have a great sense of humor. Story 45. Portugal. They thanked us for taking the time to visit them. We usually feel like unwanted tourists, so receiving the warm welcome we got in Portugal was a breath of fresh air. Story 46. South Korea. Visiting Seoul as a solo female traveler was one of my favorite travel experiences. Everywhere I went, people were friendly and helpful, and very patient with my limited Korean language skills. Story 47. I have never been to Canada, but I did meet 2 retired Canadian men in Florida who invited my entire family to visit them after a 10-minute conversation on a bench. Of the countries I have visited, I would say the Netherlands. I believe Dutch people and British people have more in common than we like to admit. They have a great sense of humor and a genuine kindness that is not superficial. Story 48. New Zealand stands out for its incredibly warm and welcoming people. The Kiwi spirit of friendliness and generosity made my experience there truly memorable. Story 49. Colombia was so surprised and impressed by the country, as well as the warmth and generosity of the people. Story 50. New Zealand can be challenging when it comes to building relationships, as many Kiwis are not very direct in their communication. They are very kind, but it can be difficult to determine if their kindness is genuine. Story 51. Albania had strangers inviting us over for coffee or dinner. We were in a small town visiting a friend who was there with the Peace Corps to help secure infrastructure funding. The mayor stopped by to give us a personal tour and invited us to have Easter lunch with his friends. It was absolutely unforgettable. Story 52. Really surprised nobody has mentioned the Philippines, the absolute nicest, kindest, and most generous people I have met. Mexico is also like this in many places. Story 53. Americans are the nicest people ever. I envy Americans so much. I'm not saying people from the UK aren't friendly, but Americans are on another level of kindness. I would love to live there, honestly, if I had any useful skills. Story 54. Canada, excluding Toronto and Vancouver. Australia, rural and regional. Germany, under age 50. Switzerland, under age 50. Taiwan. New Zealand. Indonesia. Japan. South Korea and Singapore are generally more polite than expressive or friendly, but still pleasant. I have had very mixed experiences in the United States, Mexico, and France. Story 55. I am surprised I haven't seen Germany mentioned yet. I used to visit Bavaria in the summer, and the people were kind and helpful. They seemed to enjoy the opportunity to practice their English as much as I wanted to practice my German. Story 56. Canada isn't close. How can we be such unkind Americans while our neighbors to the north are so friendly? As an American, I sincerely apologize for what our leader is saying to you. Story 57. I had just arrived in Tokyo and was supposed to walk from one train station to another nearby when a Japanese man approached me and asked if I needed help. It was my first day in Japan. On my last day, I bought items in a gift shop from a kind elderly lady. As a tourist, I was taking pictures near the shop of the sights. Then I saw the old lady again. She was struggling to walk and was assisted by a young helper. She flagged me down, and I was surprised to see her looking for me. She returned some change, which turned out to be a rare Winter Olympic coin. Story 58. Everyone I met in the Dominican Republic was very nice. My daughter even lost her phone while at the airport, and someone turned it in for us to pick up later. Story 59. Papua New Guinea and Myanmar both have their challenges, but I found the people to be lovely overall. Story 60. New Zealand and Thailand are wonderful places. The Kiwis are consistently welcoming and polite, while the Thais are always happy and smiling. Although it's hard to know what they might be saying about me, I have never felt unwelcome in either country. Story 61. Belgium has amazing people and the best beer in the world. The food was quite good too, from what I remember. I also had a great time in the United Kingdom. Story 62. I found everyone in Vietnam to be truly delightful. The same goes for Cambodia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Pretty much all of Southeast Asia was filled with wonderful people. Story 63. Oman. Of the approximately 55 countries I have visited or lived in, this has to be my answer. I was there for about 8 days and was invited inside for coffee and dates on 3 occasions by total strangers. The people were lovely, and it is a very beautiful country. I did not have a single bad experience there. It is truly overlooked and underrated. Story 64. Belize felt like family. People kept asking if I was Mr. I can't remember his name's daughter. I kept saying no. I ended up meeting a few of his children, and I definitely resemble one of his daughters. I'm pretty sure I heard he had 17 or more kids. Story 65. Wales. I spent a week there about 25 years ago, and everyone I met was incredibly hospitable. One older couple I met took me to visit some castles near Cardiff after I expressed my interest in local history. Story 66. 26 countries, and I can honestly say people have been so nice everywhere I've gone. Maybe Indonesia, though, that was next level. But the same goes for Australia and New Zealand. The patience I received in France with my poor French and in Spain with my poor Spanish was remarkable. Definitely Rwanda as well. Story 67. I was in a pub in Dublin, and they had unique pint glasses that I was interested in buying. I asked, "Where can I buy these?" He replied, "You can just have some." I took home a few pint glasses. I tried it in another pub and the same thing happened. I couldn't make sense of how incredibly friendly the Irish are. Story 68. Ireland is a wonderful place. I loved it there. As soon as people realized I was Australian and had Irish ancestry, I became their new best friend. Story 69. Myanmar and Sri Lanka have faced many challenges, yet the people there remain incredibly pleasant. It amazes me. Story 70. The nicest people I met were probably in Ecuador. I traveled there for a month, and everyone was willing to help me. I had the chance to meet many interesting and beautiful individuals, creating wonderful memories. Story 71. The police, security guards, customs agents, and immigration agents in the Philippines were very pleasant. Upon returning to the United States, I found that law enforcement and immigration agents were often unhelpful. Additionally, the police in Israel were also quite difficult to deal with. Story 72. I haven't been there, but I've taught classes of students from Peru. They have been the sweetest group of people I have ever met and the most pleasant students. Story 73. I have traveled quite a bit, and as a person of color from Australia, it has been very interesting. Sometimes people hear me talk and cannot comprehend it, even though I don't have a strong accent. My girlfriend sounds quite Australian, and she is of color too. I would say that in Europe, Madrid in Spain has been my favorite. Everyone I met there was amazing and very sweet about my obvious mispronunciations of words. I really did try. Generally, I found that people in Spain were quite nice to me. I received many complimentary shots at bars because I carried a travel book. When I would ask for a drink, they found my attempts cute. I would walk up to the bar, say hola, and flip to a page to try to place my order. As long as you are polite and patient, they are really nice. In Asia, excluding India because of my Indian heritage, I would say that Thailand is fantastic. The people are wonderful and friendly. I would always return to Thailand. There is so much to see and do, and I absolutely love contributing to the local economy. If I were younger, I would probably join a Muay Thai camp and stay for a while to train, even though I would probably gain it all back with the food and beer. In the Americas, I have only been to Hawaii where the people were nice. However, I did notice that I was stared at a lot and sometimes mistaken for being British. That being said, there are good and bad experiences wherever you go, and traveling is a real privilege and luxury. You just have to roll with it, even if you don't have the best experiences. Story 74. Quite unexpectedly, in China, if you know any amount of basic Mandarin, elderly people will congratulate you on your effort, invite you over for tea or baijiu, cook you a meal, and try to arrange a marriage for you all in one afternoon. Story 75. Argentina is incredible. I don't know if it's because I speak Spanish, but I was prepared to experience the so-called arrogance that I often hear about when Buenos Aires is mentioned. The moment I landed in Buenos Aires, I was warmly welcomed. Everyone was friendly, we engaged in conversations with strangers, and we left the country with fond memories. Story 76. Romania. Bucharest was beautiful, and the people were genuinely warm and curious about what I was doing there. I have also had good experiences in Paris, Iceland, and Norway. America had its ups and downs, but Canada was very nice too. Story 77. Japan. I am from Canada, and the respect people have for public transport and customer service is on another level. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.